Welcome everybody to another edition of TalkingWithHeroes.com talk show program. I am Bob Calvert, your host, and we're here in COL, Iraq still. And first, before we get started, I want to thank the people that made this trip possible. I could not have come back so fast after our trip to Afghanistan without them. Blackhawk.com, Newsblaze.com, MilitaryConnection.com, FreedomHunters.org, LauraBurgess.com, Number5Jump.com out there at Fort Benning, SoldiersAngels.org, and BroadbandForAmerica.com. And you've all been watching the videos now. We've interviewed many troops here at FOB COL with the 3rd Heavy Brigade Combat Team, 3rd ID, out of Fort Benning, Georgia. Now I have the honor to meet the Brigade Commander. And so I want to welcome Colonel Peter Jones to Talk With Heroes.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you very much for taking your time. I know you're really busy. Why don't you share with our listeners just a little bit about yourself, how long you've served, a little bit about your family, and where you're from?
Well, I've been serving for the last 25 years since being commissioned from West Point in 1985. And even though I'm an Army brat, I call Houston, Texas home, and my wife is from Virginia Beach, so I have to recognize that side of the family for their great support out there. I have a wife and 2 great boys, and right now they're sitting at Fort Benning getting ready for myself and the rest of the Hammer Brigade to redeploy home as the most deployed brigade in the United States Army.
And I'm looking forward to being there too when we get back there. I'll be back there in October. Okay, you've been deployed over your military career quite a few times, but you've been to Iraq more than once, right?
Yes, did Kosovo twice, and then this is my 3rd deployment to Iraq.
And you have a unique perspective that obviously we're here to bring back to the American people about the transition and the progress here and the positive stories. Talk a little bit about your other deployments and kind of lead up to this deployment, just to kind of give the American people a really good look at how much progress there really has happened in this country.
Well, I'll start off with, this is what winning looks like. My first deployment was coming into Baghdad after it was initially seized by 3rd Infantry Division as part of the 1st Armored Division, and staying as one of the first units that got extended for 15 months in 03-04. So I witnessed the crumbling of a government, a looting of a society, as everybody saw on TV, as the regime of Saddam Hussein fell. There was no true government. America stood up and put up a provincial authority that allowed the nation to move forward. Electricity was hard to find, if any. Water, all the essential services was lacking, especially in a huge city such as Baghdad. Then fast forward, arrive 07-08, a high time of sectarian violence. The surge is ongoing. The question of whether America and really the Iraqis had the will to win was answered, both from a number of reasons. Our commitment of forces, the execution of what the Iraqis call the Sawa, what we call the Sons of Iraq movement, which was the Sunnis moving away from AQI and siding with really the government, predominantly the U.S., to allow a negotiation to come forward. And now you fast forward to the watching of not only provincial elections that occurred just before the brigade arrived, but more importantly now a national election that we helped facilitate. All this time secured by a very competent Iraqi security forces, overseen by a provincial government that had been in place for over a year. Now, while there's many things still to do, and that's what we're here to help, but there's been huge progress made, and that has facilitated and allowed the force structure to go from when we first arrived, 130,000, now to 50,000, and change from a combat-focused role to being one of advising and assisting the Iraqis, which we call stability operations.
And this stability operations is what the American people all of a sudden hearing about, but you've been doing this the whole deployment.
We did. Yeah. We're a Heavy Brigade Combat Team, which means we're trained to conduct combat operations. But we are configured and trained to be what is called an advise and assist brigade. So when we arrived in November and took over the 5 provinces south of Baghdad, which is the largest number of provinces given to any brigade, we came upon a partnership with a very capable Iraqi army, the 8th Iraqi Division, very growing and willing Iraqi police forces in all of our 5 provinces. and a Department of Border Enforcement, like our Customs and Border Patrol, who are seeking to provide security both on the Iraq-Saudi border and, of course, Iraq's border with Iran. So the conditions were set, one because of the great success of the units before us, but also really the leadership of the Iraqi security forces and that of the provincial reconstruction teams, our departments, the state colleagues that are working with the provincial governments.
It's really clear from all the soldiers, your soldiers I've interviewed and what you're saying now, we have had tremendous progress, and it's good that you all are willing to share this because the American people need to hear this.
Well, I think what the American people need to understand is that Iraq is moving forward.
Right.
I mean, it's been 7 years. There are still numerous challenges ahead, but the Iraqis are going to take on that challenge. They want our assistance. They want that strategic partnership with the United States. They value that, whether it comes from foreign investment, whether it comes from us training, advising, and assisting the Iraqi security forces, whether it comes from us and our Department of State colleagues, helping them figure out how to do provincial governance, because again, they never had to do that before. It was a dictatorship, a Ba'athist regime ran everything, and now a thing called democracy, a democracy with an Iraqi flavor, is truly what is emerging.
Absolutely. What would you say to the soldiers themselves? There are a lot of them already watching on my Facebook page to thank them for the great job they've done. You can look at the camera.
Well, I think, as I look at our soldiers over here packing up and getting ready to go home, this has been a different type of rotation for them. For the ones who have been here before, and we do have some 4-time deployers who crossed the berm, who came and fought up in Diyala in 04, 05, who then came back for the surge. They understand the progress that has been made. For some of the younger soldiers who thought they were getting into a fight and realize now they're here to truly enable the security forces, they realize that they as soldiers have to be adaptable. They have to be able to take on new and more and different missions. And there's going to be fights wherever we end up having to go, but they may take different shapes and forms. So to them, I'm really proud of their commitment. I'm proud of our non-commissioned officers for their leadership and their discipline. And I'm proud of our officers who've been able to find innovative solutions to some very complex problems.
Absolutely. And of course, another major part to this is the families back home. A lot of times people forget. I know because I have a son-in-law who's been deployed twice, and my daughter's in the Army. But talk about the families back home, actually thanking them too.
Well, I think the key is that we are a team, and I wouldn't be here if my spouse wasn't supportive. I wouldn't be here if my larger family in Texas and Virginia Beach wasn't supportive. And I wouldn't be here if the community of Columbus, Georgia and the United States wouldn't be here. And it takes many forms. I want to thank folks for the care packages, the letters, the kids write notes. You may think they're small, but the resemblance that shows that, one, the soldiers are not forgotten, the mission means something to the United States, and more importantly, we are America's Army. So they are your soldiers.
What would you say to the American people now? We have 50,000 troops here. Some of them are going to be here for a while, some of them will be replaced by others. What would you say to the American people as far as continuing to support them and the mission here?
Well, I think it's one of remembering. This fight is not over yet. There are 50,000 here. There's even more now, of course, deployed to Afghanistan. But there's soldiers doing missions like advising and assisting in North Africa, Sub-Sahara, out in the Philippines. I mean, we have soldiers representing the nation across over 150 countries.
Still in Kosovo, too.
Still in Kosovo. Absolutely. Doing exchange missions in Eastern Europe. So we're here helping bring a touch of America because we are America's commitment. When folks see boots on the ground, they truly know, whether it's in an Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine, but when they see those boots, whether they belong to any of those services, they know America cares.
Absolutely, well said. Why don't you look in the camera and say hi to some family and friends back home?
Oh, definitely. To Stephanie and the boys, Thanks for all your support, and really to the families, the Sledgehammer families that are back there getting ready for us to come home. Thank you for what has been in some cases a tough 12-month mission. We truly appreciate your support of your soldiers, and more importantly their comrades, as we get ready to close this out and head back to Fort Benning, Columbus, and the greater Georgia, Alabama community. Look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for all your years of service to our country.
Appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you.
And we appreciate you capturing the history and what our soldiers got to say too.
It's an honor to do it. It's my way. I'm a little too old to join, so it's my way of serving.
We'll appreciate that. Thanks,
Bob.
Bob.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Well, folks, you've heard it here from COL Iraq on TalkingWithHeroes.com. I want to thank Eric behind the camera this time, and you will hear from us again here from another location in Iraq soon. Once again, all these videos, thanks to Alan Gray at newsblaze.com, are going on YouTube. youtube.com/BobC9246. When you've watched these videos, we're asking you to tell as many people as you can so others can watch too. We need millions of people to see these videos. So I want to thank you all. God bless you. God bless America.